win, as the coach of the owner of the Raiders said, or Vince Lombardi. How did it go? Winning isn't, what was it? Winning isn't the only thing, it's everything, or vice versa. What was your question?
What do you really mean by beating the air?
Boxing. He wants to get the knockout punch in. That's not how he fights, to win. He's not fighting like, you know, he's using the imagery of stadium athletics and boxing that the Jews would have been horrified by. That's what he does. Anyway, you have to take my word for it. If you don't believe me, go read it yourself and you draw your conclusions. But see, this is not things that are read in churches. We want to read the beautiful stuff in the churches. We forget the negative stuff, like Thessalonians 2:15, the Jews are the enemies of the whole human race. You want to claim where the Holocaust comes from? Right there. Right there. And as long as that stays there, there will be Holocaust till the end of time. You know, as long as you demonize a group of people, and the Jews were not the enemies of the whole human race. They were contributing huge amounts of good things to the human race. They were the enemies to Paul because they were opposing him. And in the eyes of someone who is being opposed by someone, they are demons. And they are to be demonized because he is being opposed by them. And he hates them. He hates them because they don't agree with his agenda or the approach that he's laying out. Well, the approach is that the law is a curse. Well, look, you're not going to get any Jew to be very happy about that one. The law is not a curse as far as most Jews are concerned. And Moses, he says in Galatians, I'm getting ahead of myself, but Moses, he says in Corinthians, he shows Moses as a charlatan. He can say anything he wants like Goebbels because he knows his people are so ignorant who are reading him and have no idea, they never go to the sources themselves, they have no idea what he's talking about, that they'll believe what he's saying rather than go check it out. You know what he says about Moses in that same letter to Corinthians? He says, Moses put a bag or a veil over his head in order that the people should not know that the light of the law had gone out. You know, the Jews or the scripture portrays Moses as being irradiated for having gone up on Mount Sinai and going into the tent of meeting. Whenever he came into the divine presence, he was so irradiated that he had to put a veil over his head so the people wouldn't be burned. Paul says, oh no, he put a veil over his head so that they should know there was nothing there. In other words, Moses was a cheat and a scab and a scoundrel, that he was lying to the people. This is preposterous. But he can get away with that to the end of time. Why? That's what I mean about the Goebbels stuff. Why can he get away with that? Because people don't understand what he's saying particularly, and like the final thrust of it, you know, the great glory of the German people, or in his case, the triumph of Pauline Christianity, that the law is not necessary. So that's what he's trying to show. So Moses is a charlatan who tricked the people and put a veil over his head. Maybe there was no veil. Maybe Moses' face wasn't irradiated. I don't defend the historicity of that episode. But I certainly attack someone who is going to use the Bible, pick and choose, use it where it suits him, and then laugh at it where it doesn't. To my mind, that is the behavior of a someone, what's the word? Not a Johnny-come-lately, but someone who is exploiting things, who is insincere and just using it in order to promote his own interests. I don't know the right word. An opportunist. That's really good. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. An opportunist. And then elsewhere, on the wake of that, he says in Galatians, as I told you, that when he loves these tricks that he plays with language, and he thinks he can get away with anything. He says, for instance, because look, the main problem for Paul is the Jews. That's what you say, well, why is it always these things you're picking up? Because that's all Paul's talking about. His whole thing is circumcision, the law, everything. This is the dietary regulations. This is what he's arguing about. This is what he's heaping abuse on. Maybe it should be heaped abuse on, but not in the manner of the way Paul does it. He does it in an unscrupulous, very antagonistic, extremely nasty, I guess is the right word. That it's no wonder people who read Paul have been anti-Semitic ever after. You would be too if you read that. That's what I mean. Paul, to my mind, is the Holocaust. And until you can appreciate that, you cannot get out from under the guilt of the Holocaust. Now, none of us want the guilt of 1 million children on our hands. So studying James is the way out of this. Doing classes like this actually is the way out of this. Getting rid of the wolf in sheep's clothing is the way out, actually. And a lot of people think, oh, what are you studying that for? That's right. No, that's the only way out of it. It's not the thing to be feared. It's the way to get out from under these horrendous things that have been done and said in the name of Christianity when they were never Christian to begin with these things. And that's why to study these things is really important. If you're a Christian particularly, you don't want to be responsible for the destruction of uncountable millions of South Americans, Native American peoples. You don't want to be responsible for crucifixions. I mean, for burning at the stake, for inquisitions. You don't want to be responsible for, forget 5 million adults, 1 million children being burned. We're not talking about one little thing in Chechnya, which is horrible as it is. We're talking about multiplying 300 children there, what? By 30,000 or something? I mean, we're talking about something that's so incalculable it can't even be imagined. And it just happened 50 years ago because of modern methods. So that's why I think it's important. Yes, Paul says in Galatians, whipping up this hatred, you know, we're the children of the promise, we Christians. We're the real children of Sarah. And he means allegorically, he said, because he loves allegory. You know, and the Jews, they're slaves. They're slaves. So they're the descendants of Hagar. We Christians are the descendants of Sarah. The Jews are the descendants of Hagar. Well, we know the biblical genealogy is just the opposite, don't we? The Jews are not the descendants of Hagar. The Jews are the descendants of Sarah. That's just turning it all upside down. But he thinks he can say anything he wants. One, because the people he's talking to don't know anything and are not going to read it. He's talking to someone out in Lithuania or something, or some other person in Paraguay. What do they know? What are they going to know? Just what Paul tells them, or what the priests make them learn from what Paul tells them. So then he says, why? The reason the Jews are the children of the slave woman, who is Agar, who is Mount Sinai. So he's